Hi folks, welcome back to Dungeons and Dry Brushing. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing. It's a little bit unusual for me, but this is a bit of an unusual product, something I normally wouldn't buy. We're going to be looking at the Lake Town House from the Middle-earth Battle Strategy game. Now I ended up with this because of a shipping error on the part of Games Workshop for a Christmas present that I bought. Now, of course, for me, it's going to be used probably for Dungeons and Dragons, maybe Mordheim, Frostgrave, but I don't play the Middle-earth strategy game, so I'll be reviewing it just from the perspective of quality, ease of building, the level of detail, and how useful it will be for my games as opposed to any relation to the Middle-earth game. Let's get started. So the packaging and presentation is nice enough for whatever that's worth. It doesn't look like there's too much inside the box. I'm immediately impressed by the level of detail though. It's all very crisp and highly detailed. The wood grain on the walls and the definition on the shingles is pretty impressive at a glance, certainly more crisp than you'd get with 3D printing. I also noticed that some of the pieces have a different texture on the other side. They seem to be reversible, so if you like one texture better than the other, or if you're using multiple copies of the kit to build multiple buildings, you can have some variety. The second sprue seems to be mostly the pieces of the docks around the house, and it's got a little rowboat with it, which is a nice bonus. The only other thing in the box is the instructions, and they look simple enough. That is an area where Games Workshop is usually quite good. Everything is clearly labeled and easy to put together. For assembly, I'll be using the usual tools for model building. Some snips, 2 precision knives, 1 sharp, 1 dull, and some Tamiya plastic cement. I'm not going to go step by step through the assembly, but rather give a general overview. The process and materials are easy to work with and the instructions are clear. There aren't really any complicated parts to the building process. The details throughout the piece are extremely well cast, and the kit comes with quite a few extras. The docks, the boat, there's a small outbuilding. There are also decorations and a shingle that can be hung up to turn this into a shop instead. I don't put any of those on for now though, since I'm a bit undecided still about what the ultimate fate of this building is going to be on my table. The crafter in me does like though that it comes with a bevy of smaller components, baskets of fish, traps, barrels, all stuff that can be used in future projects. In addition, the large platform that the house sits on is something it doesn't have to be secured to for the build, which is nice. It means that the house can be used separately, and you can use the larger platform as part of the network of docks. I don't know if Games Workshop always has this kind of modularity in their scenery. I haven't owned any Games Workshop scenery items before, barring the cardstock buildings that came in the original Mordheim set. Those were pretty fun. But the modularity in the optional sections are appreciated and definitely raise my perceived value of this box. That does bring me to the elephant in the room though. As always with Games Workshop products, price is a concern. In Canada, this is a $60 box set, and as I was putting this house together, I couldn't help noticing that it's a pretty tiny building. If you're a fan of MDF kits, you could get 3 or 4 buildings for that price. Of course, those buildings would have absolutely nowhere near this level of detail and would require a lot more work. If you have a 3D printer though, you could get, again, a handful of STL files for that price, and then use them to print yourself an entire village. I do feel compelled to say though that even with a really good 3D printer, you're unlikely to get this level of detail. So it comes down to a question of where does that sit for you? Would you rather have a half dozen buildings of slightly lower detail, a handful of MDF kits, or a single Games Workshop building? I can't help feeling that this kit is, well, it's absolutely gorgeous, it will probably be a one-time thing for me. Unless GW makes another shipping error, then maybe we'll talk. That said, with the construction complete, there's no arguing with the quality of the product. Though the house itself is quite small, the entire set together is a decent size, and the detail is unrivaled in any scenery set that I've seen. The build itself was quite easy as well. In the end, for me, if you're doing hobby on a budget, then this is probably not a great call. In that context, it just doesn't make sense. But if you get the chance to pick one up secondhand, at a discount, or if you've got some extra cash burning a hole in your pocket, then this is a great buy. Alright guys, that about wraps it up for the build. I actually really like this model. The detail level is incredible. It's definitely better than you would get with 3D printing. My problem with it is, as always with the Games Workshop products, is the price. Here in Canada, this is about a $60 model, and that house is pretty tiny for $60. If you go and pick up 3D printed houses, you could get 3 models, or 4 even, that are bigger than that for the same price. I do appreciate that it comes with the docks, the outbuilding, the boat, and all those little extra accessories. That definitely makes this a better value. But if you have access to a 3D printer, unless you're really stuck on having extremely high detail buildings, I'm not seeing the value as much in this as I would like to. That said, maybe I should get some STLs for buildings, print some off, and we can do a direct one-to-one comparison. If that's something you want to see, or if you'd like to see this painted, let me know in the comments. Until then, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow, and I'll see you on the next one.